Hey everyone, welcome back to Garage Force Restos. In this episode, we're going to wrap up the inner fenders with a repair on the driver's side and one more repair on the passenger side. Let's get after it. All right, this is it here. Looks like where these two pieces of metal are sandwiched together, we've got some corrosion here, which I think is started on the other side. I'll get you over there and show you that. All right, this is the other side. So we're going to have to cut a section out both from this bracket because it's all corroded here, and come up to here. So something like a square like that should give us what we need. Once we cut that out, we'll repair and put a new piece on the bracket, and then we'll put a new piece on the inner fender well. Okay, I think I will cut it from the other side using the body saw. It'll be the easiest way to do this. And to start, I'm going to drill a couple holes. All right, well, I had to go a little bigger than I planned in hole size, but the reason why I had to do that is because there was more rotted metal up here that looked okay, but it was deceiving. So had to get rid of that. So a little more complicated patch now, but we can get her done. Let's take a look at the other side. There we go here. So again, we'll start with creating this piece that folds around from here over to here. We'll get that buttoned up as best we can, and then we'll finish off with this outside piece here. Let's get going. Okay, as usual, paper pattern. Yeah, we need it here. And I think that ends. It's hard to see that one. I think it's right there. And we need a bend here. All right. Okay, got our pattern here with the bend that will go there. We'll do that in a moment, but first, got to scrap a piece of 18 gauge here. Let's get this cut out in the best way here. Okay, so here's our pattern, and oops, there we go. And there's our piece. That looks really good. So let's get a bend in it, because that's the most important thing to start with. And to do that, the usual trick, we'll put a slice in there. In fact, what we'll do is we'll cut that right off. Okay. That should be where our bend goes. Let's go bend her up. Okay, let's get this baby bent over. I think that's pretty close. I'm gonna go check that real quick and come back. Okay, well, that last piece, something went wrong. It was too short, so I had to make a new piece. Here it is here, and I've gotten back to the place where we were on the last piece, which is I've bent this. And let's just have a test fit and see how we're doing here. Sometimes it happens. You cut them too short or your measurements are off, it happens, but hopefully you can see that. That's looking really good. I like the contour. It's almost exactly the way that the original bracket is. I don't have my gap all the way around, but we'll get that once, like we've done on the other pieces. We tack it and then we'll cut it with the cutoff wheel to get our 1/8 inch gap, so we can make sure we've got good penetration all around there, because this is a butt weld, so we need that. We're going to grind it flat. We need weld all inside and around the new piece and the old. So I like how that's coming together. It's lined up this way with the bracket that goes down on the inside, and it's lined up reasonably well with the one on the inside. Um, it's not perfect, but it's very close. So I think that's it. We're going to tack it and start the cut and weld process. Okay, got that welded up and ground down. Happy with how that's come out. Show you the other side. You can see how that's all in there nice and flush with the media blast and a little bit of filler. You'll never see it, although right here from this bracket over to the firewall will be a US car tool brace to stiffen up the chassis in the car. Okay, it's time to make this piece here. Let's get a paper pattern going. The huge, as the kids are saying these days, at least my kids. I'm gonna go past that. Remember, I want to maintain this line. Okay, let's cut that out and see if that'll work. Okay, we've got our template and steel matches up like that. So we're good there. Now let's cut this off so we can get our line for the bend. And we want it bent this way. It's a real gradual bend, so we want to be careful on how we bend it. We don't want to put too much in. I don't think that's going to be enough, but I'm going to go check it real quick. Yeah, we need more than that. Let me check that. No, it's not going to work. The bend is too low, so we got to flatten it out and bring that bend line up. So this time, I'm not going to put it down as far. Let's try that again. All right, let me try that. Okay, it's very close. I think once I take a little material off this and allow it to come this way a little, I'll get the bend to match. I'm going to take a bit of material off that. Let's try it again. Need a little more. Oh, that's very close now. Very close. Oh, I like that bend. I think we're almost there. Now, what I see I've got to do, this line is not lining up here. So I need to take some metal off here so I can bring it out and make sure I've got that line. Okay. I need a bit off the bottom here. Always easier to take it away than it is to add it. Yeah, right there. I like that a lot. That's it right there. Okay, we just need to tack, weld, and we'll do some cutting to make sure we got the gap that we need, 1/8 inch all the way around. And I think we're good. Okay, a little bit of weld through primer. There, let that sit. Okay, that's all welded up and ground down. Very happy with how that turned out. And the back side of that repair also looks great. Again, sandblast, epoxy prime, light bodywork, beautiful. Okay, really the last spot on this driver's side inner fender is this hole here, which accepts a piece of round rod, which acts as a hold down for the battery. And you can see that that one's a little deformed. And so what I'm going to do, I'll show you the back side. Here's the back side I've got cleaned off with the undercoating for now. What I'm going to do is weld on this washer, which is the right size hole. I'm going to weld on this side that washer to give that area just better strength, and that way the hole will be round again but also stronger. Okay, that's all I wanted to do, just weld that washer on like that, and we'll show you the other side here. There you go. Now I've got a perfectly round hole there, and it's going to have the strength it needs to hold that battery down when the car is all finished up. Rock and roll. Okay, with the driver's side inner fender all buttoned up, it's time to turn our attention back to the passenger side. And this is the area, the last area that we need to address. You can see 2 areas of pretty bad rot down there that we need to address. So I think if we pull the horn off and pull the alternator off, I'll have the space I need to get in here and cut that piece out and do the repair. On the other side, you can see here, this is the same area. That's the rot there, and then there's more rot back in here. This is a pretty common spot, so we're going to have to cut it probably up through here, probably up that far to get a square piece over here. Something like that. First step, let's pull that stuff off and get ready to cut this out. Okay, I've got the alternator out, the horn out of the way. I think I've got workspace I need to do this repair. This is the area that I've marked out initially for the cutout. Once we get that cutout, we'll see if that we are in fact high enough on this rot to make sure that we're good. You can see that there are spot welds all the way through up here. I've chosen a spot here in between two spot welds, so that will make pulling this piece off a little easier and the repair nicer here. So let's get started. I'm going to drill a hole and then we'll use the body saw to cut through that. Okay, piece is all cut out now. Happy with what's going on over here. Got a good solid metal, and the corrosion has stopped here, so there's nothing more going on back here that I'm worried about. Over here, you can see this radiator support has a bend, and this flange comes out. It's definitely rusty, but I've just ground that down a little bit to make sure that it's still solid, and it is. So I've got a choice I got to make. I don't really love what's going on down here. It's a little weak. There should be a spot weld between this and the frame rail. Got a couple options here. This metal is still fairly strong, so I could drill a hole through this and plug weld this bracket back to the frame rail like it should be, grind this smooth and prep it, treat this rust that's on the surface here, and then do weld through primer and then put the new piece on. I think that's all we need. This piece, although is has surface rust on it, I don't think it's necessary to replace that. It's still good and strong. So that's what we'll do. We're going to drill a hole through here, plug weld, clean it up, and get ready for a new piece. Okay, you see I've got that cleaned up a little better, and I've got a hole drilled in here. Hopefully you can see that. So we're going to do a plug weld there, that secure this rad support again to the frame rail, and then we'll work on our piece. Okay, we've got this flange from the radiator support welded and ground smooth. I'm happy with how this has all turned out. It's good and strong. Now, I've also prepped the surface on both sides of the inner fender well. Got all the paint off, all the corrosion, so we're ready to weld there. Now, let's get going with the paper pattern. So I think what we'll do is put it on this way. We're going to want a nice flat edge on the bottom. And so we'll choose a piece of stock that we've got here with a flat edge on the bottom. And then up here, we'll do a similar cut and butt like we've done with the other pieces here. So let's get this down to the bottom as far as we can. Yeah, like that. Most important piece here is flatten the bottom, and we want to get this bend right. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Okay, I think that's got it. So we're going to want a piece that goes all the way up here and over. Let's cut that and just make sure we're okay with it. All right, I've cut that out. I've simulated a bend there. Let's just see how that's going to work. Yeah, that's pretty much what we're looking for. It's a piece just like that. Now looking at this, I think I've got the bend a little high. So I'm going to bring that down. I'm going to just mark that with a marker right now so we get that right on the new piece. Well, on the metal piece, I should say. Okay, so we need a piece of 18 gauge steel in that shape, and then that line's going to be our bend. Okay, I'm going to get that cut out, and we'll bring you over to the vise, and we'll bend her up. Okay, we've got our 18 gauge cut out. We've got our paper pattern. Like usual, I've cut that line where we need the bend, and I've lined it up. And so that's, oops, right there. That's where we need to bend this, and it's going to bend like that. So it's a sharp bend. It's not a gradual. So we've got to use the hammer to make sure we've got that. Trying to get this just right. I don't want to do this again. I don't have to. There it is. Okay. Okay, so again, we're going this way. The bend is, I don't know, what would that be? Let's see. It's what, like 110 degrees, something like that. So it's not a large bend, but it has to be a sharp bend. I want a nice, crisp bend on the edge there. So probably just a little bit more than that. Now let's get the hammer in here. That will help create the sharp bend that I need in the piece. It's close. Close. Yes, I'd like a proper break, but I don't have it. Okay, I'm going to test fit that. I don't think it's enough bend on it, but we'll test it and come back. Okay, I like where the bend is. I think we're happy there, but we do need more of a bend. Probably another 10 degrees on that. That might be it there. I'll go check it. Yeah, I think we've got it. So I'll take you over and we'll go in the next step. Okay, here's our piece. You can see that when I just butt the two pieces of metal together, it's got the same bend, and it's a sharp bend like the original piece. So quite happy with that. I'm a little long, so I need to trim, but that's okay. It's always better. I think I'm good here, but I need to trim off a bit here, and then likely just a little bit here, and then I think we'll be able to get this in place. So what am I looking at here? Probably I need to get the angle on it because of the way it's cut. So I think I need a cut that looks like that to get my, yeah, that'll do it. That'll get us to the ballpark. Okay, let me cut that. Be right back. Okay, got that cut up. Let's just see what we got going on here. I need a little bit more off at the top here. And then I think we're going to be really close. Yeah, I think that's it. I don't know if you can tell on the camera or not, but that bend lines up beautifully. This will mate up, as you know, we'll cut an 1/8 gap, cut and butt style. We'll get that right, and we'll bring those two pieces of metal together and tack them. But again, most importantly, I've got the line on the bottom where I like it. Oops. I've got the line on the bottom where I like it. And the line this way looks good. The bend is lined up. I think that's our piece. We just need to weld her up. Now, a couple things we'll do. So we'll do some plug welds. So we'll put, I don't know, maybe 4 plug welds along the bottom here. So we'll drill 4 holes. We want to do our weld through primer on these pieces here and on the back side there. So I'll get that all prepped up and we'll come back. Okay. Got weld through primer on there and it's dried. Got weld through primer on the back side of this piece. 4 plug welds that will hold that together along with the butt weld. I think we're good to go. So let's start tacking it up. One thing that I've got to watch out for on this piece, unlike the other work that I've shown you so far, is this is quite a long, flat piece. And so I've got to really take my time and not get too much heat in this panel. Otherwise, I will warp it. Not as risky as, let's say, a quarter or a door or the middle of a fender, but it's got a couple bends to help that from happening or keep it from happening. But nevertheless, I'm going to take my time and do this a little more slowly. So let's get a couple tacks in here, though, to get it in the right place, and we'll go from there. If I get in your way, apologies. I'm just got to get in here to make sure I got the right line. As I look at that now, I'm going to take a little bit more off of this piece right here, because it'll be hard to get in there and do the traditional cut. So I'm going to take a little off right now, save me a little work later. There, now I've got the gap that I want to have there. Yeah, I think the first tack that I'm going to do, actually that, I'm going to get this just right. Don't want to mess up my line of the bend. I think that looks good. I like how that bend, might be hard for you to see, but I'm following that bend right from up here all the way through, and that looks good. So I can move this piece until I put the next tack weld in. So let's get this. I think that is where I want it. So I'm thinking right here I'll do a tack, and then I'll step back and just make sure I'm happy with the overall fit. Yeah, I think I am liking that. Looks good on the back side as well. Okay, so now I want to start. Yeah, see, I don't have enough gap in here right now, so I've got to take the cutoff wheel, and I need to gap this out so I can get just the right gap. I'm good here, and I'm good down here. I'm actually good this whole line here, but right here I've got to get some. So I'm going to cut that. Still hitting right there. But I think what I should do is get a tack in here and get that closer. There. Now I can bring those panels together. It's good. Like that. Now over here, actually could use a bit of hammer dolly there. There. I think that's it, folks. Looks really flush. Yeah. Okay. Just going to step back before I go too much further and just make sure I'm happy with that. As I look at the line of the bend, I like how that carries on. Yeah. Good and flush up here. I think that's it. We just need to weld her up and take our time doing so. Okay, all welded up. Really happy with how that's turned out. Took my time with the welding, tack on top of tack, moving around the piece in different areas, using the air hose to keep it clean. Very happy it's flat, no warping has happened there. Quite happy, and on the back side you can tell just how much penetration I've got there from the heat signature and the weld that's come through. This is what you want for a butt weld, so that you can grind both surfaces, front and back, flat, epoxy prime, just a light skim of body fill, and no one's going to know that's there. Well, except for you. I didn't show how I did that. If you're interested in how I do that sort of welding, I can do that. Just throw a comment down in the video, and I'll do some more video of actually the welding process. But it can get a bit boring, so I didn't want to record that unless you guys are interested. So you let me know in the comments. Otherwise, the next step is to grind this flat and then put some primer on, and we are done with both sides of the aprons. rock and roll. So we'll catch you back after I've ground it down. Okay, all ground down, nice and flat. Really happy with how that piece turned out. As I've said before, a Media Blast epoxy prime, light coat of filler, and that is going to be beautiful. Other side, all flat, ready for just some primer to hold off any flash rust while we work on the rest of the car. There we go. That patch is done. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We've got both inner fenders repaired. I'm really happy with how they've turned out. It's time to move on to the next phase, which is the fenders. So come back next Friday, and we're going to dig into one of those and see how we do. I am worried about the passenger side dogleg. We're going to see if we can repair it. I know it's pretty rough, so we've got the inner structure to get to, and as well as the outer skin. We'll see if we can save it, or if I have to order a patch. We'll see. But come back next Friday. I hope you enjoyed the video. Throw a like in there. Don't forget to subscribe. It is free. Click that button. We'll see you then.